Away, Ulrich.
Thank you, Matt. Hello to everybody over there in Leipzig. Apologies from my side for not being there. I hope you can hear me. I tried to speak slowly. Yeah, I think I miss the really negative thing is actually on my side for not being there. I would like to show you, first of all, this Virtual Manuscript Room collaborative research environment page that you see up there. And this is everything you see later on. You can basically download from that site. You can try it and experiment with it, and even install it on a server and run your own installation of that software. So keep that URL if you're interested. And down there you see different sites using the system. Matt already mentioned the New Testament Virtual Manuscript Room, which you can see here. And if you sign in, which I do, it gives you lots of opportunities to work in that area with New Testament manuscripts. Just to give you an idea of how many people are actually using this. This is live data now. So at present, we have close to 1,500 user accounts on that site. And people are actually doing most of the time transcribing manuscripts and managing images, adding new images in order to eventually fill up all these resources, statistics. At the moment, we have 2,121,000 pages of New Testament manuscripts cataloged, 941,000 imaged, 200,000 indexed. That means the content has been the content information has been put into the database and transcribed some 60,000 pages. So this is basically the scope of the work. And the other project, just to show you, it's on the Coptic Old Testament. We have a very different set, only 72 users. So it doesn't really matter how many users you have. The software is stable because it uses standard portal software called Liferay that is used by big companies to manage intranets and also web presentations and everything. Of course, working on the Bible as we do is something that is probably not that much interesting to many of you. So we try to add something more interesting, namely to get some resources other than biblical stuff, and we choose material from the Homer Multitext project. So actually what we did is looking at the resources that we could find here. We had here this image collections and texts, and we just downloaded a couple of them and produced inside this virtual manuscript room that runs on Münster servers. We added a site devoted to studying Homer multitext, and using Homer multitext data. This is actually fairly easily done. Just to show you, you add a site, give it a name, and then you can select a critical edition project template that has all the pages pre-configured and ready for use. So if I actually save this, it will create a new project, a new site that includes all that information. And this is what we did. Just Homer Multitext project, and this comes basically out of the box if you edit like this. Now you can see this is standard set of pages that we designed, and you can just go to the manuscript workspace, and this is actually the Iliad. We have used the transcription that we found and added it to our system. Now we also added images, and I hope I can find them in a minute. I guess I have to sign in. Yes, here we are. And you may have seen a couple of more pages have been added, like these admin pages. I will show you in a minute what they are used for. Now we have a couple of images from, Venetus A. And this time you will see the transcription here with the image side by side. In our system, you can actually annotate images. You can create a box. You can draw here, and then you can have a link to that image that you can use and send around. As you can see, these the first three images have already, or the first three pages, I should say, have already been indexed. So book 1 or chant 1, lines 1 to 25, 26 to 50, etc. And the next one can be easily indexed as well. We use this shortcut here, index this page. We are taken to another page that is designed to for somebody to work on that. And let's pick this up now. Save it. We have the information added to this page, and when we update, you can see this has been added. In addition, now that we know of the content, we can transcribe this page. And transcribing is with biblical manuscripts, it's really a tedious task because there are so many in the first place, and secondly, they are fairly similar to each other. So in order to ease that work, we are using base text, which is just an electronic Greek text of the Bible that we can load into that system, and we turned the transcription of Venetus A that we found on the Homer Multitext site into a base text for demonstration purposes. And this can be loaded now from base text. And here you have this text exactly covering the range of lines that have been indexed. So this is basically the first step in case you want to transcribe any other manuscript. You index images, you load an image, and then you go from base text, get your base text, and then change the base text accordingly to actually produce a diplomatic transcription. And you can edit this text. You can add abbreviations. You can mark gaps or uncertain letters. And this is how you produce transcription that is, in the end, valid XML that you can copy to a clipboard and export, that you can save inside the system, that you can publish inside the system. Publishing eventually means to bring this to promote it to be shown alongside with the image. So as you can see, this is actually what we have added. So this is not a standard base text anymore, but this is live data that have been gathered and managed in the system and then published, and they go immediately live and can be displayed. Now, how do you actually get images into the system in the first place? So this gives me an opportunity now to have a look at the admin tools. These are tools that allow you to add images. First of all, to add documents. This is a global document. I call it Homer Papyrus. I choose the versification schema for Homer. Let's save it. Next stop is page and image management. The document that we have just created, Homer Papyrus here. And then I have already uploaded to our server a couple of pages from a Homer Papyrus from London. It's found here. 3 images, the first 3 columns of that Homer scroll. The first thing we want to do is we create pages, and then we simply drag and drop the images and now they should be available. Here you can see Homer Papyrus has been added to that query, and the thumbnails have not been created for a reason that I cannot really tell, but the images should be there. Here you can see the first column, the first extant column, I should say. And this document or these images can be treated in the same way as the page that I just showed you from Venetus A. So let's pretend it is not, I know it's not Ilias 1, but it's book Omega, I think. Anyway, we have now added that information. We can transcribe from base text, and off we go. So this is basically a workflow that allows us to work on multiple witnesses of one and the same text. They can come in different sizes and shapes. The interesting thing is, and the thing that really this system has been designed for, is actually to work with large numbers of data. And I think I read somewhere that the Homer text tradition contains about some 2,000 witnesses as well. So this should actually be ideal if somebody wants to tackle this whole tradition. Yeah, so I think this is an appropriate way of an appropriate example, actually, I should say, for our software. So this is what I wanted to show to you. There is perhaps one more little thing that you might find interesting. Images cannot just be integrated from your own servers, but you can also take images from the internet. In this case, I just add one more page. And then I try to drag this link . No? Here we are. How it works. Not sure, actually. Sorry, didn't work. It worked the last time I tried. Sorry, that's a miss at the end of my presentation. Sorry.
That's the beauty of live presentations. Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. All right, great. Thank you very much, Ulrich. So, questions, comments for Ulrich?
Well done work. Yes.
So praise from the audience.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to have a question from
Okay, we have a question from
university professor.
Yeah.
This is Chris Blackwell. I'm one of the project architects for the Homer Multitext.
Maybe.
Oh.
Can you hear me okay? I use teaching.
Yeah, it's a little shaky, but I
Yeah. I really admire this, and I'm deeply flattered that you did all this work, and it's so awesome. That's mainly what I wanted to say.
More praise from the audience. So this is praise from the creator of Homer Multitext.
It's really terrific, and I'll send you an email, but I would like to talk with you about how we can make it easier to type as we get new data that our editors produce, right? To coordinate this, because I really admire what you've done.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
I want to pose a question, and I want to be the one. This time I get to ask, what about the quality question, which has been posed to me a number of times. But now, obviously, if you start with an existing transcription and you're changing it to be in line with the manuscript, that's the logical thing to do.
Exactly.
But typing. But how do you have two people do it independently, so you find the little things they miss, because you're clearly, you won't get every single thing. So how do you go about making sure that you've got all the differences, or do you just?
Very good questions. Yes, I tried to pull up a project that actually does this, and this is another project management page that shows you a huge project on the Gospel of Matthew. It's pulling live data, so it takes some time to actually complete this. You can see this is every row here is basically a manuscript, and you have several transcriptions represented by these names or acronyms, and they have been assigned. I can actually assign a group of users to that job, and once they are done, I can then do reconciliation, and this is what you can see here. You are taken to another page that shows you the manuscript. You select an individual page. You get the two different transcriptions down there, and this one is, I think, the left one. I'm not sure. And as you go down and compare the two, but there should be differences. Oh no, this has already been reconciled, I'm sorry. So this is not a good example, because work has already been done on that. I should find something else. No, that's no good. Anyway, here you see differences between the two, and you can then actually select which one you accept when looking at the image as a third independent person, and that's the way transcription work is actually monitored and managed. Having two independent transcriptions, reconciling them, and you just accept one of the two. You click on here, and it will update the transcription that is running here in this upper window, and that one will be the transcription that you eventually save and publish. But the two actually will exist, and they will be kept on the records.
That's pretty slick, Ulrich. I mean, this is how we do the tree bank. Traditionally, you have independent people do the same thing, and someone reconciles it. This is a classic quality control thing.
Yeah.
You've already got it built in, so this is kind of like a model of what we would like to see, which is where you have something built well enough for one project so that you can then take it and apply another project where you didn't even talk to the people. You just like did it. Chris is so thrilled because he's so antisocial. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. No, seriously, this is the kind of thing we want to have more of. And this is I think a lot of people will recognize in this task something they would do themselves. It might be Arabic, it might be Armenian, it might be Georgian, it might be Syriac. But you got a manuscript, you got a transcription, you want to produce something, and you have a bunch of different witnesses. So I think this is a very powerful, example with which to begin to end our 3 days, 2.5 days of nonstop lectures. Yes.
Looks like Usama had his hand up, and then we'll get to Daniel. So Usama.
May I ask you, thank you for this. This is wonderful.
Usama, come on up to the microphone.
So,
So Daniel, why don't you come on up if you want to, so he can hear.
I will just read the phrasing words and ask for, do you have an editorial board like what we have in Papaya Info to control the quality of the transcription? I mean, or just you compare it after the two people have done on a manuscript?
We have different projects working on different parts of the manuscript, so there is no one big project that does everything. It's rather editorial projects that concentrate on a single biblical book, and they set up their own user groups, their own transcribers. They assign transcribers, and this is actually entirely up to them how they organize it. Normally there is at least one, in most cases 2 people who are responsible for the transcription, for a transcription project of a book, and they have to keep track, and the system helps them to actually keeping track of the work and the progress of the work, and it's ultimately their responsibility to ensure quality control. There is no additional layer on top of that, but of course, as the transcriptions are published and are living alongside the images and are being used by other people, there is some additional quality control that people exert when they find errors that still exist, and so they give us feedback, and the stuff can be updated after consulting images and perhaps better images. Sometimes it's also an issue of what kind of sources you have at your disposal in order to produce a given transcription. As you can see in this case, we have black and white images. Sometimes there are newer images available which you can see better, some details much better. So this is all welcome information and corrections that will be integrated. But ultimately, it's the responsibility of a certain group that produces an edition of an individual book.
Okay, great. I have one more question from Daniel Kiss.
Thank you very much for your talk and for your work on these projects. I am a Latin philologist, and actually at this conference I've been insisting several times on the issue of quality. It is the traditional wisdom in classical scholarship that collation should be done by one person because first of all, the types of error and the frequency of error will be presumably the same if I collate 100 manuscripts than if I collate 50 and a scholar with a very different profile will collate another 50. So it's quite commonly believed that you have to that the editor of a text has to collate all manuscripts in person. But of course, if you are dealing with this amount of material, so in the case of Homer you said 2,000 sources, and in the case of the Bible probably even more, then that's just not feasible, or it would take too long for anybody to do it within a decade or so. And I really believe the group work is a good way forward. And then an editor, if she is interested, can always check the relevant passages with your with the reproductions, with the images that you provide. I'm more concerned with a psychological factor, which is the drive behind the collation. So if I decide that I want to edit Homer, then I will collate at least the most important manuscripts. And it might be boring, it might be tough, but I try to finish it. And if you have 2,000 manuscripts online, then how do you ensure that enough people will do this work? So that's one of my questions. And the other one is, do you represent the interesting readings that you found, the interesting textual variants, the individual variants of the manuscripts and papyri in any sort of in any overview, like a critical apparatus?
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is what we are doing. I just want to show you first, but this is not a very sophisticated version. It's just a start. Again, another proof of concept. Okay, this is a traditional apparatus, as you can see. And you can actually select any text of the any verse of the Greek New Testament, and whatever transcriptions we have for that verse. No, it's not entirely true, not whatever transcriptions we have, but because you can have different witness lists. This is a witness list called INTF NT transcripts. It's the default witness list. It includes a couple of old manuscripts that have been transcribed in their entirety. So they give a certain overview of the tradition. And this is a typical apparatus. You can actually highlight the text. It is linked to the lemma text here, and you can eventually also go to the individual witness that has this variation here, and you can see the transcription of that image, and you can even go back to the image itself if you want. So this is the way we envisage the intersection between the different parts, between images, electronic transcriptions, and eventually a critical apparatus, a conspectus of the variants of the tradition. In this case, it's only a really minority of witnesses, but you can select different witness lists and create your own witness lists and run a really large collation. and produce a critical apparatus of it, actually.
Thank you. Okay, good. Any more questions? Good. Ulrich, I don't know if you want to stick around for the discussion that we're going to have. We have only about 10 minutes.
Sure.
I don't know how well you'll be able to hear, but I'll keep you online if you want.
Yeah, that would be nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and mute you so that we don't get too much noise from your side. There we go. And then you can unmute yourself if you want to say something. Good. Go ahead, Greg.
So I think all we'll do today is point out we have scheduled, for those of you who are going to be here on Thursday, in the morning, we have time for breakout groups to go over topics of interest to you. Now we have 4 topics that will be the subject of subsequent meetings, and I'll start with those. And these are existing infrastructure projects. What do they offer? What do they not offer? So things like Clarin, Daria, Europeana, the German Digital Library. I would say things like German Tech, Deutsches Textarchiv, we saw, is a good example of that. Another possible topic would be sort of big textual data. And again, that's kind of what we saw with collocations, but that includes topic modeling, which we didn't have a presentation on, and a range of things applied at scale. And Thomas would be the one to lead that. Are you around tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
Okay. And so Matt would be the one to talk about infrastructure. I would be around to talk about, personalized, new forms of reading and language instruction. This whole question of what happens when you have your corpora, which are intensively and increasingly annotated. How does that affect the way in which we work? Remember, most of the languages here do not get to have years of instruction. I mean, it's people who do Greek and Latin assume you can have, keep taking courses in Greek and Latin as long as you want. If you're doing Syriac, if you're doing Coptic, if you're doing these other languages, that is not normally the case. If you even are lucky enough to get a class, how do we think about that? And Giuseppe is not here to talk about linguistic annotation. I don't see him, but we do have people talking. There'll be a conversation about aligned translations tomorrow morning, so I don't know if more people want to join that, but that could be extended or opened up. So infrastructure, big textual data, new forms of reading, aligned translations, and we could throw out there editing environments too, if anyone wants to lead that. So those are our 5 topics, and we could get maybe get a show of hands to see if any of these things draw snake eyes. Okay. Okay, infrastructure. Who would go for infrastructure?
Can I ask you a question? Is this an all or nothing? Like we're just having one breakout?
No. Well, so how do you? We can have separate breakout sessions. We can all get together and talk about it. One group, many groups, whatever. What do you guys want to do? Here's some topics. How would you like to? Those of you who want to participate tomorrow, how would you like to do it?
So yeah, and I think the other question was, could you vote more than once?
Yes.
So, and I would say, why not? Sure.
So in theory, we have sort of a plenary closing discussion at noon. So until between now and noon, you
don't get to go back to your hotels tonight. We're having a discussion group. We're having breakout sections the whole night.
I recommend the Thomas Kirche Brauerei to get started.
Okay, open all night.
Well, maybe if you.
Anyway.
And then there's some clubs here, but you may have to be a goth to get in there.
Probably. All right, so infrastructure. Who's interested in the infrastructure? Okay.
We're just getting a sense of the hands. We're not signing names.
Yeah, good. Yeah. No, I've taken pictures. You will all be in my group tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. What was the next one? The
big textual data.
Big textual data. Okay. Good. New forms of reading environments or something like that was one of them. Instruction and reading environments, I think.
Okay, we have a nice modest number of hands for that. That's good, okay.
Aligned translations was another one? Or, so
Yeah, I think that's sort of
you
in.
can't raise your hand twice for the same one, Mariam. That doesn't work.
Well, I think aligned translations go in with the reading environment, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will say, so 10 o'clock for the, I'm gonna take pride or whatever, or be the hierarchical person, say 10 o'clock in the morning, upstairs in my office. Those who are interested, we will talk about things like aligned translation, morphosyntactic analysis, all the various things that change the way in which you read.
Yeah. Okay. Did we leave anything out? It seems like we had one group that we didn't ask about, but I don't know what it was.
Well, let's get to,
The annotation.
well, we're gonna roll that in with me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so why don't you guys name places where you would meet?
Big textual data 402,
Okay, at 10 o'clock,
10 o'clock. That
Food
is,
was yesterday?
where the food was.
yeah, where the food was yesterday.
All right. And
One floor down, roughly at the same area.
yeah, and infrastructure we can meet here.
Okay.
Since we have this room tomorrow as well. So, and trust me, if you go to big textual data and find you're bored or don't want to hear about R anymore, then you can come up here
It's all
to
about
infrastructure and
All things are possible in R.
Yeah,
It's
no.
all about Go now.
Yeah, no, see, anyway. Okay, good. So 10 o'clock. So we're not meeting at 9, we're meeting at 10.
And Tim,
tomorrow.
I think we give people a break
All right.
and you can sleep in and have a little extra. So maybe we'll have like the cage match between Scala and R and Python.
Yeah.
Go.
No. So 10 o'clock, one of these places, and then dinner again.
Dinner again is at 6:30. You can make your way over to Turinga Hof if you want to, or we meet downstairs in the lobby and we'll walk over. We'll leave here at 6:15 so that we have plenty of time to walk over there. Good. All right.
Okay,
Then we're
guys.
finished for today.